Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Closers. In this episode, we're going to talk to Kyle Handy. He is a real estate agent that has built multiple streams of income, and he is going to share how he built multiple streams of income to hopefully inspire you so you can build multiple streams of income inside your own real estate business. This video is really important. We talked about a lot of different revenue streams within the real estate space that you can start building today. So let's dive right into the video. Welcome to Coffee with Closers. In this series, we interview top real estate producers that are out there making big things happen in the real estate industry. That way you can learn from their failures and their big wins so you can start winning more in your real estate business. So today we have a special guest. We have Kyle Handy. He is a real estate agent who has set up multiple streams of income for himself. And this is an important video because I feel like not a lot of agents have done this. They rely on one source of income, and that's their real estate commission income. And I just kind of want to open some people's eyes to what's possible. So Kyle does have multiple streams of income within his real estate business, and he's going to talk to us about that today. Some of the streams of income he's set up and why it's so important to build them. So Kyle, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Chris. I appreciate you having me on to kind of share my story and share how I've been able to build what I've got so far.
Awesome. This should be great.
So I guess, real quick, I mean, I'll just talk a little bit about my history. So it kind of makes sense a little bit about where I'm at today. But, I've been in the business now for 13 years here in San Antonio, Texas. I've done just about everything you could imagine in the, residential real estate space. I've owned my own brokerage. I've had a property management company, done a lot of flip homes. I've done a lot of investment homes. I still today have a bunch of rental properties. Managed a sales team. I've actively sold real estate myself. And, and the important thing, and this started, kind of getting on my mind back in 2013, was when I was about to have my first child. So my daughter, Addison, she's 7 now. She's about to be 8. And we were just, I just found out my wife and I, we were having our first baby. And at that point in time, I only had real estate sales income. And, and like most agents, if all you've got is this commission income, it's really scary. You're on this like roller coaster income where, some months you're on top of the world. And then like other months you're like, I don't know how we're going to pay the mortgage, and you're like, it's like not a good place to be in. And my wife, she is, now she's a stay-at-home mother. So like I'm single income, it's up to me to provide, for the family. And when you're in that type of position, it makes you kind of start to think. And like before having kids, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I was kind of, like I'm doing fine. It's good money. But then, I was like, man, I had to really kind of like figure this out because I was like, I'm not going to be in the same shoes, like with kids and that kind of thing. So basically in 2013, I started up a brokerage, and I thought, the first way to kind of start to like build additional streams of income, or at least to like leverage my income and scale my income, was to start like getting other agents, and being able to like still sell my own self, but then get an income from agents as they started to sell as well. And that was like kind of like my first thought into doing this. And I thought it was gonna be so easy. I was like, man, this is gonna be, home run. Like, I can just go get agents to join my brokerage and I'm gonna get money from them. Like that was like a no brainer. And, but then I'll be honest. I mean, I had a brokerage for about 4 years. And it was difficult. There's a lot of things you don't realize, overhead, we had a brick and mortar office. I had staff at some point. Eventually after, a couple of years, I ended up hiring a couple staff, and we had lead generation, we had systems, because what you have to realize is like, there's a lot of choices out there for agents to go and choose from with a brokerage. So you got to make your brokerage offering appealing. And so to make it appealing and to make it, competitive, you got to offer agents something. They're not just going to join you because, you want them to, like, and so you got to make it competitive. And so to make it competitive, you got to take on some expenses typically. And so it's not just like, oh, I'll go out there and scale this up. So that was my first kind of like realization that like, it's kind of difficult to build streams of income. You do want to go after, you want to learn how to do it, but it's one of those things where for me now, I always look for a proven model. Like I look for something that, that I don't have to necessarily take on as much of the risk. It's almost like I've got some of the some of the risk is guaranteed in a sense. And so one of the ways that I found that shortly after having a brokerage, so I'd say about 2016, 2017, as I started investing in real estate. I'd find, undervalued, distressed properties that, I knew that if I could pick them up and, put some work into them, I'd automatically have some instant equity. I could hold on to them and get some, residual income and that type of thing. And that was a great deal. I love that. I still, I've got about 3 rental homes today. I make about $200 per door, $250 a door. After I pay like my property management, after all my expenses, I'm still making $200 to $250 a door. Which is good. That's good rental. Plus, I'm getting appreciation from those properties, which has been awesome here in the last year. I think, a lot of those homes, like I bought for like 60 grand, 65 grand. I put, 25 into them, and now they're worth like 135, 140. I'm in San Antonio. So my market's, I'm sure, a lot different than, your audience is hearing this. They're like, oh my God, where do you buy a house for 65 grand?
Yeah.
Even today in San Antonio, you're not going to find that anymore. That was 4 or 5 years ago. But that's the thing, is like, you got to look at things like, what are the opportunities out there? Like, and I'm just giving these because, like, right now, if it were me, I probably would not go into that market, like into finding, rentals and stuff like that and getting distressed properties, because they don't really exist much right now, to be quite honest. I mean, inventory is already so low, and everybody's got equity in their home. The problem with the difference with like 08, 09 was like people didn't have equity, and then when they lost their job or whatever, now they can't pay the mortgage, they're underwater on their house already, they can't sell it, it becomes distressed. Now, even if something bad happened to somebody today, they can still sell their house and make more than what they owe typically, because the prices have gone up so much. And so they sell it like retail for the most part, or even if it's distressed, like even if it needs work, they're still selling it retail for a lot of money. So it's hard to be an investor in real estate right now. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it would take a significant effort to do it, because you have to go out and actively try and source out like off-market properties. And so the reason why I go through that whole long story is because I think the key is finding businesses that are like, they have like a synergy with what you're already doing. So like if you're selling real estate, if you're a real estate agent, like going out and being a real estate investor, it's not really synergy, because like, that's a whole nother business. It's a tough business to go out there and do that. Yeah, you can go out there and try and find like a wholesaler who says they're going to try and like sell you deals at a good deal. But typically the wholesaler's taking all the meat off the bone that they can, to where they can still sell it to an investor. And so by the time it gets to your plate, there's not that much left there. And so like, that's why I say, that's like a whole separate business. But like for me, what I've found, at least, I made the move back in 2017 to a company called EXP Realty, and I've loved it. I basically, what I was able to do here is, take what I was trying to do building my real estate brokerage, but do it under the umbrella of another company. And that's allowed me to scale my team and scale my business to where I don't take the financial risk, EXP does, but it still allows me to get the benefit from whenever I do like grow my team or grow my group. And I use that as an example, because even if it's not like switching up your brokerage, even if it is starting up a team, that might be the next logical step for somebody to take, is like, hey, I like my brokerage that I'm with, but maybe I just want to start, growing a team underneath it. You absolutely can do that as well. But what I would say is definitely follow a proven model. Like if you don't know a team leader who's willing to share with you how they're doing it, you can make a lot of mistakes in the middle. Like, I didn't have somebody guiding me when I was growing my real estate brokerage. I was just trying to figure it out on my own. And I lost a lot of money doing that. And same thing with the team. Not all team leaders make a lot of money. They might have good sales. I know team leaders that sell hundreds, 200s, 300 deals a year, and they make less than what I make as an individual agent, right? And so, because, they might make $1 million in GCI, but they'll spend $800,000 of it in, in expenses, and they'll come away with, 150 grand, 200 grand, something like that, which is still a great living, right? But like, you could make more than that just by being an individual agent, quite honestly. And so like, that's where, if you know of a way, like, a team leader who's willing to share with you what they're doing, that type of thing, there's a proven model, you see other people that are doing it. That's the only reason why I came to EXP, because like I saw there was people doing what I wanted to do and having success. So like, not that EXP is the answer or the solution, but it was my way of seeing like, okay, somebody had done this already, If I just do what they did, then I can also become successful versus banging my head against the wall and just trying to figure it out on my own, which is what I had done the 4 years prior to that, having my own brokerage. And so you'll move a lot quicker towards getting that financial freedom, which is what we all strive for, having multiple streams of income. If you can find something that's like, it goes along with what you're doing. Like, when I build my team, typically the agents that I'm attracting are agents that I've done deals with, on the other end of a transaction, or they're agents that just know me, like from social media or whatever, and reach out. And so it kind of goes along with what I'm already doing. It's not like I had to like do something different. But the other thing too is like looking at opportunities within your sales business to create multiple streams. So like what I mean about that is there's all sorts of ways that you can become an affiliate of something, right? An affiliate is just like a fancy word of basically saying like, if you help a company sell something, they're going to give you a piece of the commission, right? So, now at this point in my career, I'm helping a lot of real estate agents grow their businesses. And so like there's products that I do recommend for the right agents. Like, let's just say, like Red X, like I've used Red X in the past. I like Red X a lot. I think it's a great service. It's a great value for what you get in the money. And so like when I recommend Red X to my audience, I get a little referral commission if somebody signs up for it, right? And that's an extra stream now of income that I've got to where now, I mean, that's a meaningful stream of income. Like the money I get from just Red X pays for my mortgage, like that's pretty crazy to think like that, right? And the same thing can be true though, even for real estate agents, but you got to be creative. You got to think about, well, how does like your audience, they're typically, home buyers and home sellers. What services do home buyers and home sellers need to use that you recommend, that you truly believe in? Because you don't want to just like sell yourself out for something just because of the money, right? Like it needs to be something you believe in. And if so, find a partnership, find a way that, hey, it could be a restaurant, it could be an inspector, it could be a cleaning company. Now, of course, check like if it's title, if it's mortgage, something like that, make sure like RESPA, you're not violating anything like that. But if it's just something that you're like an affiliate for and you're like recommending a product or a service, it could even be like Amazon stuff. Like let's say you're getting on YouTube to try and, generate leads on YouTube for your buyer and seller business. Let's say, well, maybe you're trying to help your buyer clients out that just bought a new house and you do a video about, the 10 things that you should buy first for your new home. And then you have an Amazon affiliate links in, for all 10 of those things, right? That's an extra stream of income right there for you,
Yes.
And so like we can all do it. You just got to think a little bit more creatively about like how, what things you're already doing and how you can kind of like, craft it in a way that it's like a win-win for both sides of it. Because all of those opportunities are out there. If you just seek them out or if you make them yourself, because there might not be an affiliate program for, but if you talk to somebody, you negotiate a deal, you strike a bargain and you say, hey, look, I'm constantly talking to buyers on my channel. Some end up buying a house with me, some don't. But if they don't, or, if I just recommend you somebody, is there anything that you can give to me? Right. And so then you can create a link for it. That way you make sure you get credit for it whenever somebody signs up. And then boom, now you've got an affiliate relationship. And so that's one way. But yeah, I mean, I think, of course, there's thousands of ways probably that you can do it. But the biggest way that I think, number one, figure out your mainstream of income first, though. I don't, that's the thing because a lot of agents do want to have like multiple streams right away. And so I don't want to distract people by thinking like, oh, well, I got to do all this from day one. Get one stream of income really good as your primary. Once you have that going as your primary, it's going to be a lot easier for you to identify like ancillary services that you can add on to what you're doing to monetize it. So like, this is maybe like a more like intermediate discussion, I would say, for agents. If you're brand new, don't let this like distract you. Let this be like inspiration or motivation to like, hey, this is cool. I would love to get there. But in the beginning, you just got to be scrappy and like get your primary business up and running to where like it's at least got a decent amount of consistency in it. Because if it's not consistent, trying to build like affiliate income or additional revenue streams and that type of stuff is not going to be consistent either. And so, so it's not really going to benefit you that much in the beginning. But definitely have it be on your radar for down the road.
That's huge. That is really good. Cause I wish this was something that was told me when I first started out. I mean, even if you don't, it's important to double down, focus, and in my opinion, at least get to a six-figure income, or depending on where you live. Some different areas throughout the country, 75, 70, 80K could be enough. It could be enough for you to, pay your bills, put money away for investments, and do your thing. But in other parts of the country, you might need more like 150, 200. So that is important. That's a big piece, but it's also important not to get stuck in the hamster wheel of real estate sales and never build anything outside of that, because I feel like that's how a lot of agents get trapped. And they don't even do the most simple thing, which is just, buy good deals in the market and become a landlord, get the cash flow, get the cash flow that comes in every month. And in my opinion, that's an asset rich business, whereas real estate is a cash flow rich business that can generate a lot of income, but you don't get appreciation, you don't get the pay down, you don't get all those powerful things that can really increase your net worth. So Kyle, how many income streams are you up to right now?
Man, I would say it depends on if you want me to break out every single one of my affiliate sources as an income stream, but like if we just counted affiliate as a group, because I mean, I've got an affiliate relationship with QuickBooks, with RedX, with Real Estate Express, a few like that. So like that's just three. I've got a few more, but then I've got ad revenue from YouTube that I get. I've got revenue share from EXP. I've got, I get actually a referral commission because now I'm out of production as about last 11 months or so. I've not actively produced. So I take all the deals that I get to me that are referred to me. I send them out to my team here. And basically I just get, a referral commission from that. So that's a whole nother source, referral commission. I've also got my 3 rental properties still that I've got here in San Antonio that provide a nice little cash flow. And then I also got, dividend income because I've got, a bunch of stock in EXP. When I sold homes here, back when I was still active in production, I accumulated a lot of shares of EXP stock during that time. And now EXP is a dividend stock. So every quarter I get dividend income from that. So that's a whole nother stream of income, I guess, you could count as well. So yeah, so it's a bunch. I mean, I think it's probably 7 to 8 to 9. I saw that statistic. It said like most millionaires, I think, have like 7 streams of income or more or something. Yeah. And when I saw that, like that stuck with me, man. I was like, I'm just going to go after, multiple streams of income. But at this point, when I was doing that, I was already earning, 250, 350 a year in real estate sales commissions, because like you said, I do believe that real estate, rental real estate is a great opportunity. But if you don't have the money, like, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff where you can buy a house with no money down, all this kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of gurus that will sell you on that. And of course you can do it. I mean, like it's challenging, right? But like, it is a lot easier if you've got money, right? So like, but to have money, you got to sell home, you got to make some money to begin. That's why I say like, figure out your primary income stream first and everything else will become a lot easier after that. But yeah, I mean, rental real estate is great. And I think, even today, like I'm kind of saving up money, waiting to see like, is the market going to change a little bit to where, because I know long-term, like that's where I want my savings to be, is in rental real estate. I want to take all of this affiliate income, all of this revenue share income, and I want to turn that into like an income that I get from assets. You know what I mean? Like right now I'm getting, income from, that's the other one I didn't talk about, my course sales. I got course sales, so I get course revenue, but I get all these these income streams from like my thoughts and like, things that I'm doing, but that can change at a dime. I love the idea of like having, rental real estate, having assets that is providing cash flow. That's the true, ultimate game, but you got to time that. I think you got to time that right a little bit better too. And right now, in my opinion, I'm just like maybe a little more hesitant. I've been kind of steering clear for the last 2 to 3 years, focusing my efforts somewhere else. But that doesn't mean that if a deal came across my desk that I was, interested in, I wouldn't capitalize on it. I certainly would, but I just haven't chosen to invest my time right now into that. But that could change in the next year to 2 years.
That's huge. That is huge. So one thing I did want to dive into a little more, because I think this is something unique, and this is actually how I came across your blog, the income reports. How everything's broken down. I think that is huge, because not a lot of people are that transparent, and not that many people break down their numbers that much in their real estate business. So I think that's a game changer. So I was looking through some of the income reports that you had, and it looks like a lot flipped when you started building the multiple streams of income. And going back to what you said before, building a brokerage or a team can be really good in producing trophies and awards as dividends, but they're not always that profitable because they're usually very capital intensive to run. And the amount of money that you put in your pocket usually isn't that much. So they're good GCI businesses, but the net commission income, sometimes it's just not there. So, I think those income reports, I can link to those too in this YouTube video. People want to go check those out because I think that's pretty cool that you broke everything down, and it can even give people some inspiration to do that with their own business, so they can kind of figure out what they're really making. 300,000 in GCI might not really be 300,000 to them. It might be more like 80 or 120. In a lot of agents, I feel like they don't do the numbers enough, and they might not use programs like QuickBooks and things like that and really crunch the numbers to really have clarity on what they're really making. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, take some time to, put that out there. And I remember, the first time I shared that, I was like, oh, should I do this? Should I not do this? And then the feedback that I got though was amazing. People saw it and was like, wow, thank you so much. I didn't, not enough agents do this to where somebody just getting started, they don't even know what's good, what's bad. So that's kind of why I did it. And I'm glad that I did. And yeah, it's one of those things, like I'm a finance major by background. So that's what I majored in college. And so I love numbers. I mean, it's all about the numbers for me. And so, I think what I've found with teams and brokerages, especially versus an individual agent who's highly efficient, a highly efficient agent should be able to keep honestly about 85 to maybe even sometimes 90% of their, of their income. After whatever they split out with their brokerage. So let's say, an agent that, clears 200, after brokerage expenses, they could keep 150K of that, if they really wanted to. Now, whereas a team, most of the teams that I see, they keep 20 to 30% on average. After they're paying expenses and stuff. So it's to make that same kind of money, you got to do 800 or $1 million in GCI. So you got to work a lot harder. You got to take more risk. You got to take more headaches. You got to deal with more people. And it's you got to just ask yourself, is that what you want? And I mean, there's some teams that can do better and they can make it, they can get 30 or 40% and they can do more, and they can do 2 million in GCI, 3 million, 5 million in GCI. And if you want to keep doing that, then great. But I think just making a good income and trying to be efficient with it, and then, if you want to get into other streams of income and having more time to do that, that's the part that I get excited about. But yeah, no, it's fun. I think if you're not tracking your numbers though, as an agent, that's one of the first things you need. Either that, or you need to find somebody that can for you. And if you look at it, you're eventually gonna have to do it anyways, because we file taxes every year and you got to have your numbers for that at some point. So you might as well just start getting in the habit of tracking it month after month, or at least quarter by quarter, and really trying to see what are your main income, what's your main expenses, and starting to get what's your gross profit margin. Are you a 90% business? Are you 50-50? Are you only keeping 20-30% of your business? Where do you lie on that spectrum? And then you can start making educated decisions based on the numbers. So for me, let's say last year, I made 400,000 in revenue. I know that if I wanted to, I could go bare bones expenses and I could have probably kept 330, 340 of that. Right. But it's for me, it's right now I'm in growth mode. I chose to invest about another $150,000 of my could be profits back into my business, because I know what I need to live on. I can live on 10 to 15 grand a month. And so, basically everything above that, I just reinvested back in my business. And what that looks like is I take that money, that 150 grand, I spend it on, somebody to help me with my content. I spend it on video editors. I spend it on, so when we talk about investments and ways that you can grow, sometimes the best investment you can make is in yourself. You got to ask yourself, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm capable of with the right, tools and things like that. So why would I not bet on myself? Because everybody's oh, I'm going to put money in crypto. I'm going to put money. That's fine. I'm not saying not to do that, but do you really know what you're investing in when you do that? You don't. You're hoping it does well, but I know what I invest in when I take the money that was profit in my business and I put it back into myself.
That's huge. That is huge. And that's a powerful statement. And that's something that not a lot of people get. They're quick to throw money at stocks and different things that they don't really have control over, but they hesitate when they're when they turn back, look at themselves and say, how can I put this 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, or in your case, 150,000 back into my own personal brand, my own personal business. So I think that's huge because, at the end of the day, if you really break it down, for a long time, unless you have hundreds of millions of dollars in capital, the highest ROI you're going to get is in yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So, and even when you have hundreds of millions of dollars in capital, if you don't invest in yourself, you're going to lose it anyway, because you're not going to know what to do and what moves to make. So that's huge. And I think that's a big statement that is really under respected. And a lot of people don't really take it to heart because they're quick to throw their money at, the latest cryptocurrency or the latest stock or the latest penny stock. But when you ask them to invest some money in themselves, they really hesitate, and a lot of them won't do it. Yep. So that's a big piece. So Kyle, anything else you wanted to add to this? I think this was a really good conversation about multiple streams of income, but is there anything else that we missed that you wanted to cover?
No, man, I think that was great. I think it was a good question to ask. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Kyle. And guys, if you want to check out his channel, it's called Kyle Handy, right?
Yep.
And he has a lot of great content on real estate for real estate agents. So check that out. And I think you'll get a lot of useful tips from his channel. So thanks for coming on, Kyle.
Thanks.